What is happening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here, for joining me on this beautiful afternoon that it is for me. It's Sunday afternoon right now, but for you guys, it is a long song Saturday. And for this Saturday, we are going to dive into a new world record. Not that we just set one, but we're about to set this album on the turntable so we can listen to. I was trying to figure out a segue. All right, we're listening to ELO. With a new world record, their sixth studio album, which was released in 1976. We've listened to a couple albums from the band. We've listened to Face the Music, we've listened to El Dorado, and now it's time to circle around back to the band and give a listen to this album that quite a few of you had recommended. I may not have all your names, but I do have a few. Mark Filla, almost dropped my headphones. Mark Filla, Spherical Harmony, Hippo in the Snow, Gaia Eternal, W. Pollock, Andy, AK, Greg Hansel, Benoit Desmarais, Black Sad, Nelson DJ, Tim Whitnell, and it goes on from there. I believe Miss Astro Dancer, I believe you also asked for this one. And then Parmigiano. So thank you guys so much. That was me scrolling on my mouse pad. Thank you guys so much for the suggestion. I'm excited to dive into this album. The only song that I do know off of this one is Telephone Line, which is a brilliant song. It's been on my playlist for a while. On the telephone line. I think I almost hit the note. But otherwise, everything else on the track list is looking pretty new. So overall, this will be a first listen, and I'm excited to dive into it. Hope that you guys are excited to dive into it as well. If you are, I almost said clap your hands. If you're excited, clap your hands, but just do me a favor and press the like button before we dive in. Might as well get it out the way. I appreciate it as it helps this video get out to other people. And then if you want, you can also follow me in a few places that are in the description. You can support the channel and what I do over on Patreon. $2 a month. You don't have to, but it goes a long way in me doing these album listens. That's it. That's the plug. And so with the plug aside, let's plug ourselves in and dive into the first track here, which is going to be Tightrope. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys.
Some days you're
how the snare hits those notes with the violin.
Some days you're gonna lose. Just along the line, can't you see the sign? The change from night to day is really only ours.
Man. Tightrope is such an amazing opening track. I mean, that gets you directly into the album. It gives you a nice palette of what's going to come up further. It's a nice charcuterie board for the dinner that's expected later as you dive further into the album. So first of all, while I don't want to speak out of turn, I do believe that Jeff Lynne is kind of the mastermind behind ELO, but I may be kind of off. I don't really know anything personally about the band. So, but taking it as what it is, the orchestral arrangements are just brilliant. The songwriting is so good in here. I love, as we've heard before in previous albums, the use of the orchestra and those kind of compositions in lieu and in mix with the straightforward, more, I would say, progressive pop elements in here. Kind of like a Moody Blues, but going into a even further, more pop kind of direction. But the way that those arrangements just sink into the music is just so well done. The transition from the opening, which the opening was brilliant. I like how there's a dark kind of moody atmosphere and a sharp cutting movement to those violins. But then it lightens up. There's a great balance of light and dark, heavy and light within the music here. But for example, the transition where those sharp cutting violins, and perfectly the drumming. Let me use names here. I like to use names of who I'm speaking of. Drumming by Bev Bevan. The snares lining themselves up perfectly in alignment with those strings and coming up and then leaving and moving into the more rock-oriented sound as it moves into that. I think that was such a brilliant transition, and that is further demonstrated further on as the track continues. Just really wonderful. Strong piano as well. Great vocals, especially when the music kind of veers back into the more orchestral direction about halfway and so on from that. I like how those strings return, but now it returns with the rock sound in tow. So that breakdown at the breaking point after the second chorus, that breakdown is just so symphonically heavy. It is just amazing. That is a truly head banging moment when the whole mood just opens up and then it's bum, 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 with the string still continuing. Just big drums, great moments there. That was just really excellent. And then the second time that it came around at the end, you even had the choir of voices. It sounded like male harmonies only behind that. So there was an extra kind of depth, an extra kind of deeper baritone-like sound pushing it just even further up. That is a sensational opening song to the album. There's nothing but great stuff I have to say about that. That was just really, really wonderful to listen to. The lyrics on this one. They say some days you're going to win. They say some days you're going to lose. I tell you, I got news for you. You're losing all the time. You'll never win. No. Well, that's a little bit... It's a little bit pessimistic. If you believe that's how it's going to be, I'd better put you down. Get off your tightrope up there. Come down on the ground. You got to save me now. You better turn around. Like, you don't have to walk on the tightrope. You can just not. You can just walk on the ground. You know, you don't have to act like there's a sense of urgency and everything you do. You can just kind of take your time, enjoy life a little bit. Woo, when I looked around, I was heading down. Won't somebody throw me down a line? So in a sense, maybe this could be someone else trying to help someone that's on a tightrope of their sort, a metaphorical tightrope, and they're saying, hey, help me out, get me down. And so this is the helping between the two. And the city streets are full of people going nowhere, making time. The change from night to day is really only hours. It's just along the line. Can't you see the sign? Like, once again, the idea of you don't have to walk on this tightrope. You don't have to make it as it is. You can easily just come down, relax, enjoy things a little bit. Bring it down. Bring the energy down a little bit. I want to look you straight in the eye. I want to tell you how I really feel. I can feel the wheels are turning round. Won't somebody throw me down a line? And the lyrics just repeat there. Also, it sounded like the strings here almost sounded like the strings in Gangsta's Paradise from Coolio. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm pretty sure it's not, but it sounded pretty close, if I'm being honest. Just looking at some of the information for the album before we dive into it, it says that this LP proved to be the band's breakthrough in the UK. After their 3 previous studio recordings failed to chart in their home market, this became a top 10 album in the UK. It became a global success and reached multi-platinum status in the US and UK, selling 5 million units worldwide within the first year of release. That's a pretty good success. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Let's move on into the next track here, which, like I said, this one I do know, Telephone Line. We won't spend too much time talking about it after, but it is a joy to listen to, so let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. Love how the production changes there.
I tell you everything. Telephone line. Telephone line. Give me some time.
I mean, let's just talk about how great of a track Telephone Line is and how it captures, I think, everything that I can think of that characterizes ELO and everything that they're about. So, incredibly catchy, incredibly well composed, great symphonic elements and orchestral elements brought in, bringing in something unique into the atmosphere, right? I would argue in the previous track it was that kind of dark, looming break, right? Here, I think it's the doo-wop section. I mean, how left field did that come out of whenever you first heard this track, whether it hit the airwaves back when it originally came out, or just the first time you heard the song? How out of left field did those doo-wop vocals come in? But man, how satisfying and cool did it come out. That's just a great kind of random-ish element that's brought in. You can hear, of course, the inspiration from the Beatles and previous groups like that, but I think that the way it all comes together is just sensational. Jeff sounds really wonderful throughout. So you can hear the desperation as he's making these calls. I love how the production changes as well. In the very beginning, he's singing. You can hear him in a little bit of a way, kind of through the, I was trying to make a reference, Wichita Lineman. Like you can hear him through the wire and then it clears up, the signal becomes clearer, and of course we build up, go through the chorus, and then we go back to it. And what is the signal? You get another phone ringing. So I like how it's actually like repeated calls, and I like how that little bit of effort actually goes a long way in feeling that desperation, declaring how he feels there. Just pick up. That's all he's trying to say. Just please pick up. Also, what I thought was kind of cool is the actual structure, just for one reason. So you have like your verse, of course, that's when he's singing to whoever he wants to pick up. Then it has that little build up into the doo-wop section, which is kind of interesting. You're like, now what would you consider that doo-wop section? I wouldn't say it's a chorus because it's really not, but it is kind of a unique second part of the verse. And then after that doo-wop section, Jeff throws out two more lines, like a verse / pre-chorus, but it's just two lines, and then it moves into the chorus. So just because of that doo-wop section and how you have those two extra lines after, I kind of think that he's playing with the structure a little bit, and I think that that's really interesting how he does that. Obviously, everything in this song is just wonderful. It's one of those tracks that, at least to me, you sing this one. This you can't help but just get caught up in the catchy bug that it is. And I think that's why it's so successful. Speaking of this track, it says it topped the charts in Canada and New Zealand, entering the top 10 in Australia, the United Kingdom, and the US. It says here that it was the final single to be released from the album. Let's see, the lyrics are about a man listening to the ringing on a telephone. Of course, we already know what the lyrics are about. With Yellow's continuing success in America, it seemed obvious to Jeff Lynne to use an American ringtone during the song. I have to admit, I didn't know that that was an American ringtone. I didn't know that there were other types of ringtones in different countries. I'm putting my ignorance out there. For some reason, I just thought that was like a universal ringtone. He says, to get the sound on the beginning, the American telephone sound, we phoned from England to America to a number that we know nobody would be at, to just listen to it for a while. On the Moog, we recreated the sound exactly by tuning the oscillators to the same notes as the ringing telephone. That's a cool little detail, how they recreated the sound. Because I thought it was just straight the sound. Like I said, it reached number 1 in a lot of different places, and it is a very well-known and beloved song. Like I said, I've already talked about it before, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but great track. Let's move on into the next one here. I'm not even going over the lyrics. Let's go on to the next one here, which is going to be Rockaria? Rockaria. Okay, let's do it. That's an interesting mix.
For Beethoven. She loved the way Puccini laid that tune.
And now they're both together. Okay, I want to really talk about this one because I thought that this was such a cool idea. So first of all, the name of the song is Rockaria, and I'm like, okay, I have no idea what that means. But as it opens, okay, rock, we definitely got it. And aria, like operatic, we got it. So, okay, I get where it's coming from. The only reason I got that, obviously, because I'm listening to the song. Because here's what I was going to say. At the very beginning, we had the opera singer, and I was like, okay, that's cool. It works with, the orchestral themes that we've heard through the album. And then when it moved into that, for the most part, relatively straightforward kind of bar blues sound, rock and roll, I was like, didn't really mix. I was like, okay, we just kind of had the opera part in the beginning, and then it just snaps right into the rock and roll. I'm like, all right, they both sounded good, but they didn't really work together. How well, though, is ELO thinking ahead? They're always 3 steps ahead because that's the point. The song is about a relationship between a typical rock and roller and an opera singer, and their musical worlds don't really mix. It's rock and butter. It just doesn't work together, right? See, you're asking, rock and butter, it doesn't go together, right? However, as their relationship grows, as they begin to intertwine and get to know each other, so does the music begin to come together and collide with one another. So that by the ending break and the final bit, it actually works incredibly well together. And even the way that she's singing there, it changes. Because before she's singing in German, and she's singing, I don't know, but she's singing something, some opera song. But by the end, she's singing in English, and it melts with the music in a little bit of a different way. Almost like if you're with someone that does speak another language, there's going to be some barriers to overcome. However, love overcomes all, and so eventually they're together. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that that was really, really well done, how that works, because it is off-putting, but it's purposely off-putting. And I think that that shows a sign of very big creative, do I want to say genius? I don't know, but it shows a lot of creativity, because I think that that's very, very cool. It says that the operatic voice is from Mary Thomas. I have never heard of Mary Thomas, but she was a Welsh soprano studying at the Royal Academy of Music. She has appeared with a lot of people. I cannot say that I've heard any of the things that she's been in, but she's accomplished. We'll put it like that. So let's go ahead and get into these lyrics real quick. So in the beginning, like I said, she's speaking in German, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce what she's saying. However, the translation of what she's singing in the beginning, it seems like it's basically far, far away. The music is playing. It even has a note here that says, this operatic part is sung by Mary Thomas. On the first recording take, she mistakenly started singing too early, after which she can be heard uttering, oops. However, Jeff elected to use this take anyway. That is actually really cool. I'll have to listen to that again because I did not hear the oops, but I love that. Keep the mistakes in. It's those imperfections that make the music that much more real. Just got back from the downtown Palais where the music was so sweet. It knocked me right back in the alley. I'm ready, yeah, I'm ready. And I'm gonna really rock tonight. Sweet little lady sings like a songbird, but she sings the opera like you ain't never heard. But she ain't ready. She ain't gonna rock and roll, right? Like she's not ready for that yet. It's like that from Back to the Future. You know, your kids aren't ready for that, or whatever he said. She's sweet on Wagner. I think she'd die for Beethoven. She loves the way Puccini lays down a tune, and Verdi's always creeping from her room. So obviously that is her genre. That's what she likes to listen to, classical, opera, etc. And then it repeats from there. Come on, I'll show you how to sing the blues. Now, baby, come on over. You got nothing to lose. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready? I want to show you how to rock and roll. Now, this could, of course, have two different meanings. This could, of course, be, yes, I want to show you the music that I enjoy and show you, you know, this kind of stuff. And I just, hey, I want you to come over and rock and roll, you know. We were reeling and rocking all through the night. Yeah, we were rocking out the opera house until the break of light. And the orchestra was playing all Chuck Berry's greatest tunes. And the singers in the chorus all got off on them singing blues. And as the night grew older, everybody was as one. The people on the streets came running in to join in song. Just to hearing the opera singers singing rock and roll so pure, I thought I saw the mayor there, but I wasn't really sure. But it's all right. So I really like that kind of basic, he's using a relationship, but also just the bringing together of people and music fans from different genres and kind of uniting them in some capacity, whether on a small scale like just a relationship, or as he says, everybody coming out on the streets. It's like how for me, from my generation, Linkin Park was the biggest band to bring together the rap hip hop crowd and the rock crowd and bring them together. And it was just this really awesome period where like there was this great respect between the genres, right? I mean, there still is. I mean, for example, punk has a lot of respect with rap and rap with punk, like, you know, but I just think that that is so cool to have people on those two different sides, or what would seem like two completely different sides, come together and find some sort of union, some sort of commonality. All right. Let's move on here into the next track, which is going to actually end this particular side of the album, and that is going to be Mission, and then in parentheses, a world record. Here we go. That's not the sound of celebration.
On the mission of the Sacred Heart. Who are you and who am I? On a dirty one outside.
Man, the bass coming in though. This track, you have a cosmic visitor. You have an alien on a mission, right? Kind of like Watcher of the Skies from Genesis, coming down, saying, like, imagine an alien coming down towards the Earth. They see this big blue planet, like, man, that is a beautiful place. I mean, you guys, come to the window. Like, can you see this? You know, I do with my hands, but they're probably using tentacles or whatever. Like, guys, come over here. And they're probably like, and they're like, man, this place is gorgeous. Can't wait to meet the inhabitants who are on this mission to, like, you know, make first contact. They get down there, they get below the clouds, they get, you know, to the cities, to the greens, and they say, they got some problems down here. They say things are not as it seems as they get further down. And what I think is kind of cool is, first of all, you have those alien-like vocal effects on Jeff Lynne's voice at certain points, which makes him sound like a radio transmission, but also kind of garbled in certain ways. It's a very cool effect that works very well with the normal, natural-sounding singing. Because especially in the chorus, his singing is very airy, it's light like this, and I think that that kind of lightness mixed with that, for lack of a better word, alien tongue, works really well in sounding foreign and alien to us, but at the same time comforting and something higher than perhaps what we're used to down here, right? Okay, so as the music goes on its duration, one thing that I think is really cool is, of course, the orchestral elements and how I would even say very light and melodic the music sounds in the first half. But every time it comes to that point where the bass pops in, which, by the way, you know I'm going to mention the bass playing there. On the bass on this particular track is going to be Kelly Grucut. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but Kelly. Love it. Popping. Almost sound like Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay, but like that's just a great moment. And what I feel is that that moment really cements the sound and brings it literally and figuratively down to earth. Because before that, the sounds are very heavenly, very cosmic, very up here. But when they get into that bass drum groove, when it just pops, that's earth. That's observing earth and seeing what's going on. And I think the different atmospheres that the track handles are handled very well, and especially, like I said, with the lyrics. This is Yerford General calling you from planet Earth. Obviously, that's Jeff Lynne's name in reverse, basically, it looks like. Yeah. For many days, we traveled from a distant place and time to reach a place they call the planet Earth. There was to be a celebration on the mission of the Sacred Heart. The planet Earth from way up there is beautiful and blue and floating softly through a rainbow. But when you touch down, things look different here. Watching all the days roll by, who are you and who am I? How's life on planet Earth? On a dirty, worn sidewalk sits a mother with a baby. In her veil of tears, she sees no rainbow. And someone singing from a window in the mission of the Sacred Heart. So, like, the aliens were looking down, seeing this beauty, but to some people on the Earth and looking up, it's like, you know, it's not much to look for. And then the choral vocals, living on the earth, and when the stars above me lay icy fingers down on me. There's a building on a corner, in a city, in a land, on a place they call the planet Earth. My orders are to sit here and watch the world go by, the mission of the Sacred Heart. So this alien, this foreign entity is supposed to just sit and observe. Don't get involved, don't do anything. Don't do a Prometheus and give them fire or whatever their technology is. Just let them figure it out. just sit back and just watch. So that's going to end the first side of the album here. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Of course, if you are, I mean, you should have done it at the beginning, but press like button. But as a test, just to always make sure that someone's here watching the halfway point, I always ask a random question. And because of the whole alien thing, I'm going to throw out, what is your favorite alien / sci-fi / space movie, whatever it may be. Off the top of my head, personally, I have to go with like Sunshine. I really, really like Sunshine. Oh, and Event Horizon. Let's just toss those out. Event Horizon and Sunshine. Those are my favorite like sci-fi, space, exploration, whatever kind of movies. I love that. But yeah, toss yours in the comments that you're going to leave for me, and then go on with like your normal comment. You know what I mean. All right, let's move on into the next track here, starting off the second side of the album, which is So Fine. Here we go. Alien breakdown is that? It's transitioning into the next track, but really quick. So this is that energetic kickoff to the second half, to the past halftime show of the album, and it does a wonderful job of jumping right into the mix of things with an energetic opener here. So the chorus is very catchy. I love the background vocals, and that is so fine, and then the woo, woo. I love that. I love the energy that you feel from the background musicians, from the singers there. It's just a really wonderful energy that is infectious here at the album. The bass line, whoa, Kelly, burning in here. Like really. I love how apparent it is, how upfront it is, and then you have just that nice light shredding on the guitar. A lot of interesting sound effects in here as well, with synthesizers and I'm assuming guitar, and I don't know what other instrument there was in there, but there was a sound that was being made and I'm not quite sure what it was. However, all that aside, let's talk about the middle section, which completely comes from left field. Matter of fact, it doesn't come from the field, it comes from the sky. It sounds like, remember the aliens from the previous track? This sounds like they heard our music and they said, let's start a band, and they came up with this like really interesting percussion section that sounded percussive yet very like alien and synthy and like weird at the same time. I will admit that transition is a little bit like, it's a little rough. It's a little immediate and there's no forewarning for it, so it does just come out of nowhere. I like the transition from that section into the track again, because that transitions very well and bringing in elements from previous parts and using that to move forward. But I didn't feel like the transition into it felt very, very stable. But it was a cool moment. I will give to that. I will say that. The lines, or the lyrics here: two drifters on the morning sky, two drifters sailing wide and high. When summer breezes blow across your mind, with you I will walk the line. I want it so fine, I want it so fine. People walking hand in hand, everybody's singing to the band. I want to be where the stars shine bright and hear sweet music on a summer night. So I feel like this is just a pure feel-good song, and you could even say that the energy is pure feel-good. You know, the mood is right, the stars are bright, the music's right, everything is going okay. And then the lyrics actually were just free from there. Sundowners will go on and on. We'll find the land of the midnight sun. And when you look, you'll see for miles around, you'll see the world is in your hand. It says that this track was recorded in 1976 in Munich, Germany. It is peppy and upbeat, contrasting the previous track. It is a typical example of ELO's cutting-edge use of technology and recording techniques. The middle section contains drums and electronic percussion created by the Moog. Oh, okay, the Moog processor, and continues to rise with intensity. So that's kind of interesting that the sounds in there are with the Moog and electronic percussion. So a lot of real acoustic instruments mixed with electronic and digital and synths and Moogs and everything there. It says, according to Bev Bevan from using the Moog processor, I used it on one track on the album, this one. It's quite a new item, really. It's made by the Moog people. It's an electronic, it's a drum itself, and it's electronic. You plug it through the keyboard setup into the Moog itself, and according to what setting you put on the Moog, you can get a sound accordingly to the drum. It's very new, very innovative. And then Jeff Lynne describing writing this track, he says, "So fine's a bouncy little number. I really don't know much about it. It's just that I wrote it and sang the thing." I like that. The music's so natural. I didn't really think about it. Just kind of did it. I suppose it was along the lines of like an American, trying to sound like an American style. Maybe like the Doobie Brothers or something, you know, trying to sound a bit like an American group with harmonies, which you definitely get with a woo, woo. I wasn't trying to copy them, but it was sort of a bouncy American style with a wobbly bit on top. I think it describes it, wobbly bit. That's a great word to describe the sound that is definitely surfacing on here. Let's go ahead and move on into the next track, which is going to be Living Thing, which we heard it transitioning into. Here we go.
On the crest of a wave, it's like magic. It's a living thing. It's a terrible thing. You can see from your worst day. I'm taking a dive. I'm taking a dive. Living thing. It's a terrible thing.
That's a very strong arm kind of sound. I love the chorus and how it's not like really sustained notes anywhere. It's just ba ba ba. I don't know describing it as being punched like that. But like, you know what I mean? Like the strum of the guitar, the horn blast, or the strings rather, is a bum, bum, bum. And then in the midst of that, you do have the strings that can come out of this at the end of it, along with those nice, beautiful harmonies, which I have to say, I mean, that's a great moment in there, like the chorus as a whole, the whole thing. But Lynn's singing, his volume control, and the way that he musically backs away from the mic, with the way he, like just that, it's, if I can say with a capital SWEET, that is such a sweet sounding note and way that he sings in that particular moment. And of course, he uses that throughout the track in several instances. And that kind of moment is one of those welcome returns that I'm looking forward to every single time. Makes me happy to hear it. And like, to me, that just that way that he sings in those few lines makes the track to me more so than really anything else. I love the little bit of horn that comes in, the almost Spanish style guitar that plays at certain instances. The opening was very beautiful with like the solo violin or whatever other instrument I might have been. Pretty sure it's violin. Like all these elements make it a really great composition, but his singing here is kind of capturing me. And then the charge of the chorus, because it's just bah, 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 bah. But it's a punch of beauty. It's a pleasurable punch. It's a pleasurable pain. Sailing away on the crest of a wave, it's like magic, rolling and riding, slipping and sliding, it's magic. And you and your sweet desire, you took me oh higher, baby. It's a living thing, it's a terrible thing to lose, it's a given thing, what a terrible thing to lose. And then those, I like how when he says like, I'm taking a dive after the chorus, the music goes from that sweet melodic and just for a brief moment turns into distress, and then it starts back up again. Making believe this is what you conceive from your worst day. Moving in line, then you look back in time to the first day. And you and your sweet desire, you took me on higher and higher, baby. Like, you had me, now you don't have me, and you're looking back and you wish you had me, kind of thing. I think it's a living thing, a terrible thing to lose. It's a given thing, terrible thing to lose. Taking a dive because you can't halt the slide, floating downstream, so let her go. Don't start spoiling the show. It's a bad dream. Like, this isn't working out. Instead of trying to make it work or hold on, that's just going to hurt us both and do more emotional damage. Let's just separate our ways, like Journey said, and we'll go from there. It says here that this track was also released as a single, and Patty Quattro, who I've never heard of, sang the uncredited vocals, particularly the higher and higher parts. Just looking at Patty Quattro, it says that she was from the Pleasure Seekers, which was a 1960s era all-female rock band from Detroit, Michigan, which morphed into another band called Cradle. Haven't heard of them, but that's what it is. It says here that Lynn said about this track, Living Thing had an augmented chord. George Harrison used a lot of those chords too. I think the influence of those types of chords came from the long wave sort of songs, trying to marry the two styles together, trying to put those funny old Victorian chords into a new song gives it a good lift. It makes it more of a special song because it's got that weird chord in it and nobody knows how to play it. He put in a little bit of a secret sauce in there, basically. And of course, it did hit a lot of accolades, a lot of peak positions here. Number 2 in Australia, 3 in Austria, 8 in Canada, 6 in Ireland and the Netherlands, 11 in Spain, and 1 in South Africa. Let's go ahead and move on into the next track here, which is going to be Above the Clouds. Here we go. Okay, this is really interesting with Above the Clouds because it's only 2 minutes long. I would even argue that it's basically a very soulful transition between the previous track and the next. I think that it makes a pretty great effect though. So the opening, I thought we were going to move into straight soul territory with the way that Jeff is singing, if that's Jeff singing. I mean, deeper, more grounded, and just like wonderfully singing that. And then it moves into its kind of frothy bounce, right? It gets into that step, But that soul isn't lost. Those vocals aren't lost. Now joined by others. Now joined by Kelly, Bevan, some of the band coming in now to help with those vocals. And they just layer and harmonize and grow and expand from that singular line in a really wonderful way. The percussion is really cool too because the percussion has this very clear echo effect on it where it sounds like it's recorded in the back of a tunnel. And it's not a constant percussion, it just kind of pops in every once in a while. But it acts as a really nice signal, like someone throwing rocks on tunnel walls and you hearing that echo. I like how that kind of ping pongs up in the front and kind of gives it a certain ambience alongside with other vocals and the music in general, the strings and everything. I mean, I think that that's kind of a really cool track, the way that they built that up and created that, especially from a production point of view. In the heat of the night when things ain't going right. No, you will remember me. I came along to see your face, but the only thing I got from you was telling me it's fantasy, that the world would always be with me. I can tell you that it's true. Oh, yes, it's true. I'm waiting here, but it's all right. It's all right. You better believe me now. I guess it's like a mountainside. You've got to climb it to the top. Floating in a sea of dreams, the only thing that you can see is the view above the clouds, the view above the clouds. I'm waiting here, but it's all right. Still, it's all right with me. You better believe me now. This is one of those songs where I feel like the lyrics could go in a lot of different ways, but when he talks about being above the clouds and, you know, trying to reach me and stuff, I feel like he's saying, like, I'm up here, and I hope one day you can join me up here. Basically, wherever up here may be. Whatever level he's on, you need to get on his level. That's the best way to boil down the lyrics, I think, with that one. All right, let's move on into the next track here, which is very interestingly titled, Do Ya? Okay, let's do it. Okay, I have an opinion on Do Ya. This may be the one that gets me right through the coals, and that's okay. I gotta be true to myself. So Do Ya is obviously a very exciting, once again, an irresistibly catchy song. Did it just change songs, okay. Like, right, it has that heavy hard rock riff to get it going. Of course, a slightly different from the previous tracks. The orchestral elements are still there, but definitely relegated more towards the back. This one is definitely more guitar centric. Has I wouldn't say a solo, but a little something in there too. Then it has several moments where it breaks away and transitions into something else for different moments. So to be honest, here's how I feel about Do Ya. I don't really love it. This is a type that, I guess because this album and the songs that I've heard so far are so, like, to me, up here, I feel like this track just kind of sits in the middle. I wouldn't describe it as filler. I feel like that would be disrespectful to it. However, I do feel like it's a sliver above it. Like, there's nothing in this track that really excites me. Even though, yes, it sounds exciting, it sounds fun, it sounds adventurous, but it doesn't get me going. Just because something sounds exciting doesn't mean it excites you, right? So that's where I kind of feel about this track. I can't say that it's a bad track. I can't say anything negative about the musicianship or anything like that. But for me, it doesn't strike me. It doesn't hit me. This sounds bad, but it is what it is. This sounds like chart fodder to me. This feels like a song that would do very well in the charts, but if I heard it on the radio, I wouldn't be interested, to be honest, at all. There's nothing really in here that quite attracts me to it. A lot of the other songs, every other song, as a matter of fact, hits me very, very nicely. This one just misses the mark for me, and honestly, here with this one. It says here, hold on, actually, let me get the lyrics first. In this life, I've seen everything that I can see. Woman, I've seen lovers flying through the air hand in hand. I've seen babies dancing in the midnight sun. And I've seen dreams that came from the heavenly skies above. I've seen old men crying at their own gravesides. I've seen pigs all sitting watching picture slides, but I never seen nothing like you. I like how the things that he describes and the things that he's seen are basically like impossible things. Things that can't happen, shouldn't happen. It's just impossible. He says he's seen all those things that are impossible, but he hasn't seen anything like you. That's a good line. That's a good line. Which actually reminds me, the best part of this track, in not a disrespectful way, is the ending of it. That breakdown at the end, that was really nice. That was really sweet. Do you want my love? Do you want my face? Do you want my mind? Do you want my love? Well, I heard the crowd singing out of tune as they sat and sang All Along Sing. By the light of the moon, I heard the preacher banging on the drums, and I heard the police playing with their guns. But I never heard nothing like you. In the country where the sky touches down on the field, she lay her down to rest in the morning sun. They come a-running just to get a look, just to feel, to touch her long black hair. They don't give a damn. But I've never seen nothing like you. He pretty much repeats that from there. I do like the lyrics actually a lot, especially that first verse where he names all these fantastical, impossible things, but he says, I've seen all that. But you? Something different. It says here that this song was originally recorded by the band The Move, which became a hit for ELO in 1977. It says it is one of 2 songs featured on the B-side of the UK hit California Man, credited to The Move. Okay, so that's talking about, I guess, the Move's version. It says here that ELO began to perform Do Ya live with Lynn on lead vocals from 73 to 75, and also integrated its riff into live versions of 10538 Overture. They recorded it in studio for inclusion on this album. It says Bev Bevan stated the reason for the re-recording was that after ELO had added the song to their live performance, a music journalist asked the band for their opinion on the original version by Todd Lundgren. So, was Todd Lundgren Rundgren in the Move? Okay. That must be it then, I'm assuming. It says Bevan said they decided to re-record it as ELO in order to let everyone know that it is a Jeff Lynne song. Hold on. Did I just confuse myself? I think I confused myself slightly. Was Todd Rundgren in the Move? Let me research this now. I'm not seeing him in here. No. But Bev Bevan was in the Move. Okay, so I don't know. I'm lost. I'm losing it. Let me not dive too deep into the sauce. I'm recording a video. Reading is for after. I don't wanna delay and stuff like that. But there's some. So I'm confused now. It says it's a song written by Jeff Lynne. Okay, because Jeff Lynne was in the Move. Was Jeff Lynne in the Move? The Move? Yeah. Okay, Jeff Lynne was in the Move. It seems like. Yeah, Lynne joined the Move as a second guitarist. Okay, so this was basically, re-recording in a way their own song to an extent. Okay, I got it a little bit now. It took me a second. Listen. It took me a second. Anyways, once again, this track had found a lot of success. Not hitting as much success as some of the other tracks, it seems, but this one did hit 13 on Canada, 42 in Germany, 24 in the US, and some other records around there. All right, let's move on into the final track of the album, which is going to be Shangri-La. Here we go. Nice keys. I really love that keyboard line.
So sad. I'm getting out of love. My Shangri-La has gone away.
Besides Telephone Line, that is the best track on the album. Usually I leave it till like the very end. Telephone Line and Shangri-La, top 2. Easily, no doubt in my mind. Worst track, Do Ya. There, put it down. I had to pick something up and drop it. That's my final opinion on like the best track, worst tracks on the album, okay? Now that we got that out the way, let's talk about Shangri-La. Just this gorgeously lush, well-orchestrated piece of melancholy to open up the finale of the album. Possibly, I don't say yes, but possibly Lynne's best singing performance on here. Just so sweet, so heartbroken, in a way so lost. And that's how the track opens in the first half. But as it goes on, it becomes reinvigorated, refreshed, and there's a hope that's enlivened in here. It is absolutely wonderfully orchestrated. I really love how actually, let's do it all together. Let's do it all together. Let's look at the lyrics. I'm getting out, I'm getting out. Sitting here waiting for someone calling at my door, too bad, I'm getting out of love. Normally someone falls in love, but he purposely states I'm getting out of love. All right? What's the use of changing things? Wonder what tomorrow brings. Who knows? I'm getting out of love. My Shangri-La has gone away. Shangri-La is basically like this fictional paradise, right? So his paradise, his love, his treasure has been lost. It is gone. Fading like the Beatles on Hey Jude. She seemed to drift out on the rain that came in somewhere softly from the blue. Then he sings do-do-do-do-da-da-da. Okay? So, I love that fading out that he mentions. The fading out, like Hey Jude, the Beatles, right? And he says, she seems to drift out on the rain. She just disappears into the downpour. Then you get that really sweet guitar solo in there. Which, by the way, going back to the music for a second before I go back to the lyrics, because I'm kind of mixing the two right now. Love the guitar solo in here. So emotional. Those keys that trail away. We're going to talk about that. That trail away at the end of the chorus. Fading like her into the mist, into the rain. And it's just such a sweet, sweet sound. Okay. Getting back to lyrics. Clouds roll by and hide the sun, raindrops falling on everyone. So sad, I'm getting out of love. And then he repeats the chorus there. I'm getting out of love. Where is my Shangri-La? Where is my Shangri-La? I'm getting out of love. And at that point, that is, for lack of a better word, the final depression. That's the moment where now it comes down. And that keyboard line, that synth line that I said that trails away, it does so. It trails away. But it sits for a second. It sits and twiddles. It sits low and it twiddles. Seemingly stops, and that's the end. But it's not the end. Soon, that keyboard line comes back up and starts playing a little bit more fluttery, a little bit more, like I said, refreshed and inspired. And then you have the rest of the instrumentation, the orchestra that comes in. You have all those elements until you get to this absolutely wonderful. Am I playing it? It's why did it go to Jethro Tull? Here, it gets to this. It gets to that incredibly motivational moment where the music picks up. Yes, there's still a feeling of uncertainty, of ominousity. Let's just use that. There's still a feeling of ominousity in there. But nonetheless, it is rejuvenated. I can remember the word, rejuvenated, and ready to move on, ready to return. And what are his lines there at the very end? Instead of the I'm getting out of love, where's my Shangri-La, blah, blah, blah. Nope. He says, I will return to Shangri-La. He will find his paradise. He will take the time. Yes, it was lost, but now he will take the moment to find it. And I love the energy that's brought about in that final moment. And as you've heard me say throughout this album, whenever it does occur, those grand orchestral symphonic breakdowns, those are incredibly powerful moments. And I love the way that the band has used that, not only in the ending of this track, but throughout this album in so many different places. I mean, that is just fantastic. This is a perfect conclusion to the album, and I have nothing at all negative to say about that. That was one of the best songs on the album so far. It says here, just looking at some of the information for this particular track, let's see. Numbers like Mission or World Record and Shangri-La continue the history of classy orchestral stylings that really rock. Yes, they do, because they rock, but they're orchestral. Okay, that was all I saw. For it, I was trying to find if there was anything interesting about it, but I couldn't find anything particular about this track. Looking at some of the background just for this album, Jeff Lynne regarded his own songwriting at this point to have reached a new high. He says the songs started to flow, and most of them came quickly to me. To have all those hits, it was just, amazing, really. Going from doing okay for probably 3 or 4 years to suddenly being in the big time, it was a strange but great thing. And like I said, this album has a lot of accolades, a lot of positive critical reception, and obviously a lot of fans. So this is our third ELO album that we've listened to here on the channel. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I got it out the way already. Telephone Line, Shangri-La. Best tracks on the album. So easily. Besides that, if I was to give it a third, I would put Tightrope on the third, because that one's really fantastic. Well, but truthfully, all the tracks are really, 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 really good. Except for Do Ya. All right. If you didn't already, press the like button, go ahead and get that out the way. And by get it out the way, I mean it should have been gotten out the way earlier, but I'll allow it. I'll excuse it this time. I really appreciate you guys sitting here and listening to the album with me, enjoying the music with me. Hopefully you enjoyed the music, because I know this was at least probably an hour and who knows, hour and 20 minutes, probably something like that. But thank you as always for on these long sung Saturdays for sitting here and just listening and watching with me. You know, I know it's not always that I'm not the most entertaining. I'm not like the most like crazy, but I'm just me down here. So thank you for spending time with me. You can follow me in a few different places. You can support the channel and what I do on Patreon. I appreciate you. Come on back tomorrow, and I will see you all then, guys. Bye.